welcome to another episode of the KopiBros show presented by the Chit Podcast Network. Now today, we had the very fun opportunity to talk to Yeegn Loung and Hsin Loong, who are both the second generation owners of City Music, who take over from their father. It's such an interesting experience to hear them talk about how the company was founded, how they saw the music trend change over the years. And I just felt that, this is such an enlightening and unique experience to talk to people in the industry, not just because they are musicians, but because they were part of so many people's music journey. Without further ado, back to the episode. Now, our guests today are from City Music, a one-stop solution shop for all your music, audio, video, and lighting needs. Founded in 1968 along Bras Basah Road, the shop has moved to 2 other locations since, with the second being Peace Centre in 1980 and the most recent being LHK Building along Sims Drive in 2023. Since the move to LHK Building, they have also organized a variety of events and workshops, with notable events being Guitar Fest and the Martin Experience, and workshops like Bring Your Own Guitar. And their new motto is We Inspire Dreams, to foster a deeper connection with the music community in Singapore. Behind the scenes, the store is family-owned, first opened by Willie Ho and now run by his 2 sons, who are our guests today. Now, please join me in welcoming Sales Director Yeegn Loung and Marketing Director Hsin Loong. Hello, both of you.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for having us. All right, it's an absolute pleasure and honor to be on your amazing show, and I stand by my kopi also. All right, we're excited. We're so excited to be here today.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. I think before we even start, can I just ask what have both of you been very busy with?
I'll speak for both. We have been so busy connecting with so many other great creators like yourself, new ones, even reconnecting with existing long relationship that we have built with creators. They can be musicians, podcasters, buskers, musicians, streamers, and such, and making a lot more connections, and not only connections between us and directly with the creators, but also interconnections between the creators and also with brands that we are partnering with. So I think that's a very nice community that we have been actively trying to build this connection.
Before we came on, I was talking to y'all about brothers in businesses, because I said that I cannot imagine myself working with my brother in a family business, because I think we need our space. So because I understand that you all are in different departments, but do your work overlap, and do you get into conflicts, or how do you see yourself having to work together and then having to sit around at the family table and having a meal together?
I think the key word you just mentioned is family. So family is important. I think we are brought up in a way that both our parents, they love our family very much. So we do understand the importance of the bonds within the family. In terms of roles, we do overlap actually. Being in an SME, being a small family business, sometimes you just got to do everything. There's some things that I would have missed out. Yeegn Loung will come in and talk about the marketing points. There's sometimes I will see opportunities in the sales side. I will come in and let's do something about the sales side. We prioritize maintaining this harmonious family relationship. I mean, if you look at Apple, you look at Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, they constantly have a very big disagreement regarding the direction of Apple.
Yep.
But without Steve Jobs being out there and really championing what he truly believes in, Apple wouldn't be here today, you see. We may not grow to be as big, as maybe other companies out there. We are not so cutthroat. We value relationships, human relationships, and human ties. That's how we work together as brothers in a family business.
That's actually something very comforting to know, because we have seen very, very public disputes in in the news, and even in very big businesses.
Yeah.
So I think it's always good to hear news that we value harmony, right? Because end of the day, it's still about the family and the bonds that we have together.
We do fight, but of course when we fight, right, it's for the good cause of in the same direction.
Yeah.
So definitely there will be conflicts of I like to do this, you don't like to do this, and sometimes we'll you do your way, we'll see how it goes. If it works, then I have the credit, and vice versa.
Yeah, because talking about family bonds, I think this sort of leads into the first part of the interview, the story about how the business was founded. So I wanted to ask you all, how was City Music founded?
You got the time? Yeah. Okay, we start. Okay, I'll introduce myself. I'm the director of everything at City Music. I'm here to ensure that the gears never get in the way of that you're going to create your content. Right? This is actually our motto. So City Music, actually, we started in 1968, founded by our father. Willie Ho, along Bras Basah Road, which is no longer around, the building. And you can go to our social media. You can still see pictures of our old building. I think because recently our marketing team has put up some sentimental photos. Our father, he started the business as a very traditional music business, piano. That is in the 60s, moving into the 70s. So we actually had the opportunity and the honor of growing along with music scene in Singapore. So basically we had the honor of meeting great local musicians that has shaped our journey along the way. So of course, a big part of our journey, of our existence is of any business is all about survival. So we definitely have to continue to adapt, evolve, implement changes along the way. So I would say our father, during his time, he was really way ahead of time. In terms of the other competitors. At that time, we were already considered one of the later entrants in the musical industry, specifically piano. He saw that music should not just be your traditional musical instrument. He went into the electric organs in the 70s. But towards the late 70s, he already saw that the traditional organ was already a sunset industry, and he was already chasing the next evolution of where digital technology, software, synthesizers coming in. So even in the 80s, he was already chasing computer music systems, and which was actually way ahead of time because it was so expensive. So you can imagine computers, even at that time, to have an IBM computer, that was very, very expensive. And also the trends of music also have evolved. 50s and 60s maybe have Elvis, 60s you have Beatles, 70s rock and roll, Jimi Hendrix, 80s you have the synth pop, Depeche Mode, Pet Shop Boys, for example. 90s you have the grunge rock, the pop, hip hop, R&B, 2000, and so on. So we have been evolving, and also, as I said, we really have very thankful to have the support of our local scene, musicians, studio owners, sound engineers, songwriters, arrangers, live performers, teachers, music educators, and such, supporting us. So it's not about just opening up a business like a convenience store. I have this product waiting for clients to come in and purchase. When you go into any store for the first time as a consumer, you probably would have this defense, and is this, I don't know the people there, I don't know what they do, are they going to rip me off, am I going to, so we have to spend a lot more time, a lot more thought into how we can actually put ourselves into the shoes, the journey of our clients, that so that we eliminate all this friction. It doesn't matter what we're going to sell. It can be a $1 guitar pick, it can be a $10,000 guitar, doesn't matter, because we don't believe in the one-off transaction. It's a relationship. It's a journey. That's how we have always been believed. We believe ourselves to be. We drill this down into our team, our sales team, our marketing, our technical support, and basically, this is how we would have to be continuing to drive further to survive.
So I wanted to ask, the second question is that how did the two of you end up joining the business? Was it something that since you're young, you all know that, I grew up confidently to help my father, or is it you all tried something else and then you all come back and join the business?
I basically grew up in this environment, in this industry. So during school holidays, or even when I was young, as a kid, I already was taking lessons from, we used to run a music school. I was already part of the school. School holidays, I'll be here to help out, right, to make some pocket money. I would say I basically grew up in the industry itself. So I came into the company in the year of 2000. So I've been here for 26 years. I joined the company when we were just coming out of the Asian financial crisis, 97, 98. Wow. A lot of companies were, right now we're going to go through another crisis again, right? It's always a cycle. So, but let's bring back to 26 years ago, just coming out from the Asian financial crisis. When times are good, everything is good, right? But when times are bad, that's where you see bad things floating up. So, and that's where we had excess inventory that we could not get rid of because the demand wasn't there. I came in and my father just told me that, can you just come in and help out for a while, right? So I need people. So I just came in and started to dig up a lot of rubbish, see things like, why are things like that? The deeper I dug, the more I sink in.
Okay.
It has, I would say, what keeps me still around today is passion. Of course, passion, you need to make money. So we have to think very hard to really think how we can change our way of doing things, finding new business opportunities, to continue building new relationships to keep this, it's being surviving. I can say that I'm actually learning a lot from the next generation. My marketing team right now that's behind this podcast now, they are an amazing team of young people that they have great ideas, and it's very fortunate that we have been around long enough to see things that we can share from our perspective, but at the same time it cannot be one way. We still need to learn from the intergeneration.
Okay, so I joined the company in 2007. So that makes it about 19 years. When I was young, we also grew up in the family business. I do remember coming back to the Peace Center when I was young. I remember the smell, the people, what it was like back then. So same thing, we did all sorts of odd jobs. I remember carrying speaker boxes, unloading speaker boxes from 40-foot containers, even, before we even officially joined the company, when this is just during the holidays when we are free. And the reason why I joined the company back then was we didn't really have any proper marketing team. So I'm actually design trained myself. So even before that, I was already dabbling a bit of stuff, doing a bit of updates for our company website. Before that, all the updates, the website, the marketing collaterals, if there was any newspaper ads, they were all just done by our sales guys using whatever tools they had on hand. So I joined the company at a time whereby I guess people see the value in marketing. Many companies back then don't have a dedicated marketing department. Yeah, now with all the digital media, social media, I think that's very important. So that's how I joined the company.
I think my next question will be about a very critical point in a lot of businesses, which is the COVID period. What was a very big change during the COVID period, and how did your business affected, and how do you have to change to make sure that you stay afloat during this period?
I would say we were very fortunate that till today we have not let go of anyone. I would not say it's our credit totally. I would have to say our government was very, very supportive of our local businesses, SMEs, or even micro SMEs. They gave us salary grants, they gave a lot of incentives so that, we can continue. When it was first announced, okay, we're just going to shut down for 2 months. Nobody expected to be, And if you're just going to share about the music scene, the whole music industry just died on the spot because there is no public performances. Everybody had to work from home. They have to start figuring out what am I going to do. Some people left the industry. Some people stayed on today and emerge, victorious and survive. So for the musicians that immediately lost the stage, at that time, a lot of them actually immediately went, okay, because they have been performing all this while, they need a stage. So the first thing that came very naturally to mind was, let's live stream. So if you talk about 5 years ago, live stream, it was already popular, but not as advanced as what we have today. And because these musicians, they have been very good at their craft, then suddenly they say, I want to do a live stream. Then they suddenly say, hey, it's not as simple as just switching on your phone and go live, because how am I going to look good? How am I going to sound good? There's internet connectivity issues I need to deal with. I need to manage the chat. A lot of things to take care of. So at that point, we immediately reach out to a lot of our musician friends. Is there anything we can assist you guys? And we actually did loan out a ton of equipment to a lot of musicians that want to live stream. Our sales team, the other thing that also talking about live streaming, our sales team could not meet with clientele because we were shut down, right?
Yep.
So we immediately have to apply for license so that because fortunately we are already running our e-commerce. So we could still bring in on a rotation basis certain number of headcount back into the company to process the orders. And our sales team who suddenly don't have, just like musicians, no one to talk to already because there's no one coming in. We could not open the doors for business. So we threw our whole sales team into the fire of let's go and do live streaming. Let's do live selling. 5 to 6 guys in the sales team at that time. Everyone take one product, go back home, do a lunchtime live stream, just introduce product. That actually was the start of our live stream and content journey for our sales team. During the early days of live stream, they got into all sorts of technical difficulties.
Yeah.
No sound, no video, internet dropout, and so on. Every single stream, something will pop up. Dr. Murphy was around, but the audience were like, because I think there's nothing to do at home. Everybody just tune in, and it's like, they'll give you what you call that suggestion. Can you bring up the volume louder? We cannot hear you. They're very, very forgiving in a sense. Our sales team are very creative. I have to give credit to them. They say, besides just introducing products, they introduce a string called Chit while we pack, basically because they're coming back to pack our e-commerce order. So they were basically just packing the e-commerce orders on the table, just put a camera there, and this is so and so, going to this customer, or this is what they bought, hey, this is what I like about this product, and it got traction, right? And that's where we also started our podcast because since we had nothing to do, we actually did have a podcast at that time. We did get featured in what's that magazine? Time Out. Yeah, one of the top 10 podcasts to check out.
I guess importantly was again what we had to do to adapt. I remember when the government announced the lockdown, only essential businesses were allowed to operate. People could operate. So we had to last minute go and check, what's our business listing on Accra. It was mainly retail and wholesale. Last minute quickly change our business to e-commerce, online selling of essential stuff like telecommunications devices. So what was the telecommunication devices? It would be this, like a USB microphone. That's how we had to adapt and survive. So before COVID, actually, 90% of our customers are not professional musicians. Only 10% of them are professionals. So before COVID, we would look at the big business as selling our equipment to all these hobbies, people making music for fun, parents sending their kids to learn piano and stuff. But once COVID hit and once we saw the lockdown, immediately we have to think of the 10%, which is these professional musicians. Because even though they become a small part of our business, they are very important because they are the ones out there who represent the music community. They are the inspirational people. They are the role models. They are the influencers who will continue to grow and nurture and inspire the next generation of people. So our first immediate priority was to also try to ensure or try to get them to adapt to the COVID lockdown. So that's why we had to learn ourselves how to do live stream, and how we actually had to try to get all these musicians to get onto, doing live streams on Facebook, doing virtual basking. How do you set up your camera, your audio equipment? A lot of them do not have proper knowledge. They have been gigging in pubs and hotels, doing wedding gigs, but when it comes to going online, digital technology, they are actually pretty clueless. So that was what we did back then during the COVID lockdown. And that has how it actually evolved and diversified into all this digital content. I think we call it under the big umbrella of content creation right now. So it'll be music, audio, video, lighting. That's the umbrella of the products that we sell right now.
Prior to COVID, we were already selling USB microphones, which traditionally they were actually geared towards musicians, songwriters. We actually committed a huge inventory because our suppliers squeeze us. You're a distributor, you need to lock in so much inventory. So we thought, okay, we just lock in the inventory. We'll take 1 year to sell out. And what happened was because of the COVID disruption, So the whole chain of manufacturing was affected. Factories couldn't produce because there was not enough raw materials from all the sub-factories. And suddenly, we, City Music, in Singapore at the time, had the the highest level of inventory for USB mics, which has become an essential items.
Yeah,
and
stress.
suddenly everything was sold out in 2 months. So it became like an interesting news angle that not that we survived COVID because of USB mics, but in a way we got lucky. That was quite a fun, interesting episode for us during the COVID. But also to add on is, as I said earlier, is there are a lot of new musicians that were born during COVID. Their only stage was online at that time, and they actually managed to build up a big following. And by the time it reopened, that musicians can come out to perform, and a lot of the stages are gone.
Yeah.
They closed the business. So the only thing they could do was actually they do busking. That's where busking picked up. So busking became their new stage, which is good because interacting online versus interacting in person with a real audience is a totally different experience. And we also had the opportunity to, not that we groomed them, but we actually supported a lot of this new generation of musicians. The nightlife is also quite different today. You don't get as many clubs. You don't get as many, live venues, live houses. There's still a few there. But then you see, a good mix of these people. They are musicians. They are doing their busking. Some of them are doing very, very big, like Jeff Ng, right? Yeah, he has gone so big now that he can hold his own concert. So because of COVID, for us at least, City Music, we also have looked at our business so differently. In pre-COVID, a lot of us in the industry, at least in our music industry, there's only that few players. It's competition, we do our own things. Today it's different. It's all about, after COVID, we all realize we cannot walk alone. We have to hold hands and walk the journey and walk a longer mile. That's why we have to make so much connections with different suppliers, different brands, even competitors that we want to make them as friendly as possible, because we actually can create a lot more things, a lot more opportunity. So again, it's the community we are very, very engaged in building.
I think growing up, my mom or my parents were always, my parents' generation were always of the view that the music industry is not an easy industry to survive in, right? But for you all, that not only did a family business in music and made it work, and your customers are, all in the music industry, either part-time on their own or as a full-time musician, right? How do you see like this music industry like growing over the years?
Music today is very different. What has killed today is all about digital streaming. That's one.
Yep.
Basically going digital. It is a double-edged sword because digital empowers you to do things that never have been possible. Because of that, there will be a trade-off. Because you can do things, then you can cut off a lot of in-between middlemen or processes. Recording studios, that's one that was one of the first few to really get disrupted by music software. Digital audio workstation, as what we call that. Basically, it's a whole recording studio in your computer. You just need to buy hardware. So that's one of the first few going digital. Actually, before streaming, there was, I don't know if you are familiar with, have you even heard of Napster?
Yep.
MP3, okay?
MP3,
so that was the first entrance of music piracy. And that's where it went digital. Apple Music went into selling the songs, albums, all right? And then the next disruption came in. You have a buffet for all, one price for all. Spotify came in and becomes a subscription, and you can have access to everything. Exactly like what Netflix has done to the movie industry. So there's not much money to be made from recording an album, which is going to cost a lot of money, all right, a lot of effort, and because there's not enough record sales. Even if your songs on Spotify, you stream, you have 1 million streams. What you're going to get is not enough to cover what you put into the recording to produce a recording. So the whole music industry has changed. But at the same time, disruption always comes in, and besides the casualty it costs, there will also be opportunities. So if I'm going to look at music creators in Singapore today, what are the opportunities? Because of internet, we can actually export find ways to export our creations to a bigger market outside of Singapore, which is so small. Well, at least to Southeast Asia, to Malaysia, to Indonesia, to Thailand, and so on. All right, we can go bigger. Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Jasmine Soko. These are all our current new generation of music heroes. Singapore, we really do have a very, very great pool of music talents in all genres. We really have got really, really good classical trained musicians, pianists, Churen Lee, for example. You know, a lot of child prodigies coming up, still. We have the Chinese pop scene. We have the English pop scene. At the same time, parents are also very supportive now as compared to, at least in my days. In my days, if let's say, maybe not in my family, if let's say I'm in a typical average Singapore family, and I'm going to tell my dad, hey, Dad, I want to be a rock star. So you're going to do drugs, is it? Or you're going to be poor, is it?
Yeah.
So that has changed. That has changed. So how does it make it relevant for us? Our company is, as Hsin Loong has said, we have changed. Music is not our only focus for us. City Music. We have 4 pillars: music, audio, video, and lights, and this all part under the category of content. So our main business is content, actually.
Then my next question is about customers. Okay, so I want each of you to share one interesting story.
Over our decades of meeting different kind of customers,
All kinds of people,
we have our fair share of very difficult customers, very entitled customers, but also we have a fair share of amazingly, unbelievably great and just beautiful people. My earlier days when I just joined the company not too long ago, we were selling speakers, sound system, and the clientele happened to be one of the KTV bars. No, I don't want to stereotype, okay? But the people looked a little bit intimidating.
Understand.
All right? And for them is maybe that's how they talk in their
the demeanor that they portray. Yeah.
So obviously of course products will break down. Right? When products break down, sometimes it's beyond us. But most importantly is we are there to troubleshoot and make things right. Our sales manager, Mike, and I, we just went down to the place in the middle of their night operations because they usually run at night.
Wow.
And 2 guys, one of and usually they have a few Indian chiefs coming out. What's happened? It's like coming out and like, well, then with like a lot of prints on the body. We solve the issue. It's just that, just understanding. As long as they understand that nothing will be 100% foolproof, things will break down. Even brand new things may just fail on you within the first week. But again, is what is the company behind it going to do about it? So obviously we were there to troubleshoot, and we got the things, got the issue rectified.
You all sold them the item, I would guess, a few weeks or a few months before it broke down, and then after it broke down, they called you up?
It was actually within 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And we're selling a lot of audio equipment.
Yeah.
So as I said, because equipment does empower us to do a lot more things. So a lot of establishments, like even restaurants, they may not want to spend too much money on sound, because sound is something that it will always be taken for granted, because sound is something you don't see. And sound can cost money. Because it's not just the equipment, the speakers, there's also sound treatment. But when things don't sound good, like in this particular podcast, if one of us don't sound good, right, it will definitely, everyone say, hey, the sound is bad, why like that? Yeah. So sound is something for us in our trade that has always, very often been just taken for granted. Sometimes it may not be the product issue. Sometimes it could be applications, user issues. And that's again why we really, really would like to have the continual engagement with our clients even after they purchase equipment from us. Because we want to ensure that what you're getting from us is not like, this store just sold me something that doesn't work. No, sometimes it's they don't understand. Even, for example, we work with a lot of podcasters. great podcasters like yourself. And some of the very established podcasters, we are surprised to know that, hey, the biggest fear for them, actually, being in the audio business, is they fear audio.
Okay.
Because it's like, to them, a lot of time, they think that audio is like some voodoo mystery thing that they can't understand, right? But when we try to break it down to them and make them understand sound, audio, it's just physics. As long as you understand, it's just physics. How you're going to place what microphone you want to use for what application, how you're going to place it, what settings. Once you understand, then it's not as complicated as it is.
I think I have another horror. Okay, not that horror customer, but a customer. This lady, she bought a digital piano from us for the children, for her daughter to learn. Bought it about a week, and it couldn't turn on.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
It couldn't turn on, and then she called our office. Our sales manager Mike was handling her, and he couldn't handle her. She was just shouting over the phone. She's just very angry at why it doesn't work, couldn't turn on. She kept escalating. I want to speak to your boss. So after about half an hour with the customer, Mike couldn't handle it. He passed it on to me. So again, we went through the same old conversation. She was getting extremely frustrated. So she was saying like how her husband is not around. She couldn't fix it on her own. She don't know anything about technology. The husband went reservist. The daughter is going to be having her music lessons immediately.
I remember
I
that,
want you all to come down to my place right now immediately. Stop whatever you're doing. Come down immediately and fix my piano. Obviously, if the product is faulty, we definitely want to rectify the problem for our customers, right? But we had to undergo some tests on the customer side. Maybe it could be a fault that has nothing to do with the piano. So I keep asking her to try. Maybe you can try to plug out the power plug, try a different socket, restart. She just refused to do it. So for 45 minutes, I had to try to convince her to just take out this plug, try a different wall switch. And true enough, it was the power extension strip that was faulty. Right. So finally, when I asked her, okay, once you swap it, is it working now? She just said, it's working, and slammed the phone.
Wow.
Right. So obviously, wow, okay, that was a 45 minutes call. You could just swap it and it works. But nevertheless, the next day, I even follow up with another phone call to check with her. How's the piano working?
Wow.
Is it okay? Can your daughter use it for her piano lessons? She just, I don't know. My daughter is not home yet. She just slammed the phone again. So I did my best. I tried to,
Wow. Okay.
Not the first, definitely not the last.
Yeah.
That's part and parcel of our business, of any other service industry.
I would have to say, if I were you, I wouldn't have called back the second day already. I settled the problem and moved on in my life. Okay, so before I go on to talk about Founders Day, because just now both of you shared about horror stories, I want both of you now to share about maybe a pleasant memory of a musician or someone or experience you had with regards to like customers or people visiting your store.
I cannot just pinpoint anywhere. I have too many, really. As I said, we have the absolute pleasure and honor of getting to know and so many great local musicians and also some foreigners also. If you talk about, like, as I mentioned, every 10 years of generation of musicians from 60s, for example, we have one of our very good friend, Henry Chua from The Quest, which maybe you don't know them, but, when Henry and his wife come over, they will be so kind sometimes to even buy food for us. We have like great legends like Mr. Jeremy Montero, which we are still working very closely with him, connecting him with brands, supporting him with equipment. Our local superstar, JJ Lin, come into our stores to check out Martin guitars, for example. He himself has a great collection of Martin guitars also. I mean, there are just too many to name. And some of them are big in their own. Because the thing is, our whole music industry, we have the front line, we have the back line, we have the hidden heroes. We're all so close to them. And some of them actually have brought in their next generation, their children, into the industry too.
Wow.
And, so seeing them grow, seeing their next generation come in and doing Sometimes some of them even outdoing their parents, in today's context. So I think these are all very heartwarming that keep us going. Music will never die. I would say also another amazing thing about music is if you look at our team here or a lot of us in the music industry, we definitely don't look our age because music has got something magical. Scientifically proven or unproven, I don't know how to say that, but a lot of us in the industry, we don't look our age because it's just the music just do us good. Yeah.
This lady, she came to our store to buy a product during our year-end sale, right? It was on discount. So this lady was a bit more quiet, more reserved, but she knows what she wants. So she came here, she looked at the product. After about a few minutes, she said, okay, I want to buy this. But I want to buy it at a full price. I don't want any discounts.
Wow.
So again, we spent another 5-10 minutes trying to convince her, we're having a sale now. You're going to get a better deal. We're going to give you a discount. No. I want to get it at a full price. I want to pay. Just let me pay the full price.
Money laundering, is it?
I don't know. But again, another interesting story. Yeah.
Okay, so I think the last part of the interview, I want to talk a bit about Founders Day because I think our Founders Day is coming up soon. So could you introduce to our viewers what is Founders Day and some of the promotions coming up?
Founders Day was a marketing campaign we came out with during 2018. That was our 50th anniversary when we were still at Peace Center. And my sales team came up to us and said, hey boss, can we sell off all the display units or not? At half price. I said, huh? Half price? It's like, I think about it. Half price? Can treat it as advertising. I make less money. No, actually I lose some money. All right, and let's see if they can create a hype.
Yeah.
People were queuing. We opened at 10. People came at 7 a.m. to queue.
Wow.
And by the time we opened, my team came out, opened the doors. It's like there's like sneaking around the complex. It's like, wow, So that became a mainstay of our calendar of sale campaign. So we have a year-end sale, and then we have our Founders Day sale. We are 58 years this year. So the tradition has been going on since. And we will again have good deals. We have online and offline to check us out. Happy to offer you deals online, but my team will be even happier to see you in person. Our team really loves to engage with our clientele.
Why is it called Founders Day? Is it because like this period was when your fathers decided to start this company during this period? Oh,
correct. It was during this period.
So our company was founded on March 16, 1968. So since 2018, every year during March, we will have our Founders Day sale.
Founders Day, I would believe you all want to do it not just for promotion, right? It's also part of like remembering why the company started, what your dad did for the company. So how would you like people to remember his legacy, or how would you like people to view City Music?
Just go to our social media and see all the things we have done so far, from events, even how we used to run events in the old space at Peace Center, which is really grassroots and really basic. We have grown, we have made connections, and this is all what we wanted. So we are here to stay, we're here to connect with more people, we're here to make more friends, and yes, definitely we love to sell you more things, but we like to do content with a lot of up-and-coming content creators and even established content creators too, because it's so fun today. And it's all about just making connections. Yeah, this Thursday to Sunday, and I would say almost everything is on sale. So 26th to 29th of March, everything is on promotion, from guitars, studio monitors, headphones, speakers, keyboards,
cameras,
accessories. Yes, correct.
Mics.
Check out the deals online. Come and talk to our team in our space. We would love to meet you. Sort out your equipment needs. Whether you're a school, you are a venue, you are a content creator, you're a musician, you're a studio ops, come and talk to us. Reconnect with us again. We always love conversations.
And for all you know, maybe you go down there, you see some very cool guy just geeking out to the guitar. Because I go to your shop every time, right? I confirm see one guy rifting off to some guitar one. So far I went there
I love the content you guys did at our space.
Yeah.
That was brilliant and hilarious, but I mean, that was great.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us. I think I learned a lot from you guys today. But just to close off our episode, can you let our audience know where they can find you on social media and where your store is located at?
Okay, you can find us on our social media handle at CityMusicSG. Go to our website, citymusic.com.sg. If you come to our space, you can make an appointment or you can walk in. We are at 701 Sims Drive, Unit 0205. We are open from Mondays to Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you miss the opening hours, just head on to our web store, citymusic.com.sg. You'll find a lot of good deals, a good range of content creator needs. Let us sort out your equipment needs.
Thank you so much for taking your time out to talk to us, and wishing you all the best and see you at the founder sale.
Thank you, Jing Yong. Thank you.